Hello, everybody. We are live with Mauro Ranallo, the new host of Inside MMA. Mauro, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing very well, man. Nice to be part of this, and hello to the MMA Nation.
Thanks. So, let's start off. I've been watching you since way back in the day, back when you were on the MMA show at The Score. And now you're back when it comes to covering MMA with your buddy Bas Rutten. How did this whole entire thing get set up, you doing Inside MMA?
Well, I was approached a few months back, in fact, by the folks at Access TV, whom I had forged a relationship with when I was doing the New Japan Pro Wrestling on Access TV show with Josh Barnett, and many of the same crew work with Access TV. And Kenny Rice, who was, an award-winning journalist and a tremendous broadcaster, was moving on to other endeavors, but still remaining, thankfully, as a special correspondent with Inside MMA. So when the opening arose, the fact that I'm living, 20 minutes away from Bas Rutten here just outside of Los Angeles, and the fact that I had already built this great relationship with Access TV, and I had kind of, told Bas at different points when we're doing our podcast together that obviously I would love to try to get back into the MMA sphere. There have been opportunities in the recent past that didn't pan out for a variety of reasons, scheduling being one of them. But having called thousands of MMA fights, the opportunity now to going back to hosting a show of this kind, where it's the longest running indie MMA show, and having people like Ron Kruk on board as a reporter, where we can give you the hard-hitting stories and the journalistic stuff, but also with Bas and I have some fun and maybe highlight the entertainment aspect of MMA because of the characters, the unique characters, and tell the stories of the people involved both inside and outside of the cage or ring. It really was an opportunity that I wanted to seize, and it fits with the schedule because my commitments to WWE are Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. I do the podcast Wednesday and Thursday, and then intermittently, I'll be filled in by Ron Kruk when I'm doing Showtime Championship Boxing or Glory Kickboxing. But it's something that I'm really looking forward to, and I invite everyone to check us out on Friday, March 25th.
Wow. That is an absolutely insane schedule. I'd have to assume that you're one of the hardest working guys in the business, but a lot of what you're doing is alongside your friend, your partner, Bas Rutten. What's it like being around a guy who's just so energetic all the time? I've never got the fortune to talk to Bas Rutten yet, but he just seems like such a charismatic guy. What's it like being around somebody like that?
Oh, charismatic doesn't begin to define Bas. He is, a magnetic personality who is an incredible human being in a variety of ways, because he really does encompass everything. I've been deathly afraid of Bas. I've never laughed harder than I've laughed with Bas. I've never felt closer than I've felt with someone like Bas. He's just that guy that you don't want to piss off, you don't want as an enemy, but man, as a colleague and as a friend, you couldn't ask for more. He's a deeply committed family man now. After he'll be the first to tell you, a legendary career as not only a champion fighter but a champion partier, but he's a cartoon character come to life, and I think a lot of people, even in Pride, I played more of the straight man with him, but I think now with our podcast and even on Inside MMA, I think both Bas and I will be able to be more of who we are away from the camera, so to speak, or covering the sport. But we've always had a unique chemistry. I remember in Pride fighting championships in the restaurants in Japan, where we'd be sitting there having breakfast, and within minutes, the shooter box team would come over, and Golden Glory, and everybody would be around our table because we're just having a blast. We're being idiots, and so Bas and I have really forged a very close bond as colleagues, but as friends. And again, I'm also very excited, though, that Kenny Rice is going to remain involved, and then I get to work with Ron Kruk and everyone else. But yeah, Bas Rutten, and this goes without saying, and it's been well documented, I would not have a career, and I can honestly say I don't know if I'd be alive if it weren't for Bas Rutten, because he came and he helped me at my lowest point in life. Was July of 2003 when I had just dealt with another issue with bipolar affective disorder, and I was in the hospital. And he reached out and not only showed his support, but the timing was that Pride Fighting Championships was looking for a new play-by-play guy. And in the, when I got the message, it killed me, because here was an opportunity of a lifetime, a dream job, as it were. And yet my health and my current personal situation was going to preclude the opportunity to take this job. So, whether you're religious or not, and I don't know, I believe everything happens for a reason, but I really fought hard to get better, and I took my medication, and I did whatever it took, talk therapy, meditation, to get on that plane to go to Japan in October of 2003, and it was the beginning of a career that has now brought me to the WWE and Showtime Championship Boxing, Glory Kickboxing, and now Inside MMA, and none of it would have been possible if it weren't for Bas Rutten. So not ashamed to say I love the guy.
Well, I think I can speak for everybody in the MMA world, in the boxing world, and also the pro wrestling world to say that that was a great decision that you made to get on that plane and go, because you've done amazing things since. And one of your new jobs is as one of the commentators of Smackdown. Now, how did that whole thing come about? I know that you've been on Twitter defending Michael Cole, saying that, like, oh, he's a great guy, he's one of the reasons why I got this job. Could you talk a little more about that?
Sure. Again, I quipped that I'm the Forrest Gump of broadcasting, and I really believe I might be. Anyone who knows me or, has followed my career knows my first love was professional wrestling. It's how I started my broadcasting career when I was 16 in my native British Columbia. But at this age and at this stage of my career, being a lifelong fan and worked with the legendary Stampede Wrestling, then Pro Wrestling Noah for the Fight Network in Canada, and then, of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling. I thought, if this ends now, I didn't even expect the New Japan Pro Wrestling opportunity to come by. I always wanted to be a WWE play-by-play announcer. Always dreamed of, calling WrestleMania matches, and I was content, thankfully, with every. I've been spoiled in my career, and I don't want to come off as ungrateful, because I am beyond grateful. But I had my moments in Pride with Fedor versus Mirko Krokop, and I've been able to call kickboxing matches involving a legend like Peter Arts, and of course New Japan, which. The matches that I was afforded the opportunity to call with Josh Barnett were some of the best of this era, involving Shinsuke Nakamura, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Kazuchika Okada and the like. But WWE, I never expected to get the opportunity, and I was okay with that. But it all began with social media. And Michael Cole, who was the voice of WWE, followed me on Twitter. And I thought, well, this is kind of strange and odd, but kind of cool in its own right. So I didn't make any, didn't make more than it was. I find out later he is a boxing fan as well, so that's cool. Then I receive an email from him, and he's just reaching out to gauge my interest in working for WWE. Little did he know, again, that this was something that I dreamed about doing when I was 5. And thanks to everyone, involved, Showtime and Glory, and just, again, people like Frank Shamrock, who's been a godsend to me as a friend and mentor and business, manager. But it worked, and WWE wanted me to be me. They brought me in and told me that, they wanted my style to remain the same with some tweaks. I mean, you sign with a new company, you've got to play by their rules as well. But I've been absolutely blown away by the feedback. And again, Michael Cole is the one who produces me. Michael Cole has been instrumental in allowing me to be the guy that I'm most comfortable being. And I think what they wanted is someone who can work with Jerry the King Lawler, who's the Hall of Fame color commentator, and up-and-comer Byron Saxton. And, I'm a play-by-play guy. I like to paint word pictures. I like to tell stories, and I like to call the moves. And WWE has allowed me to do that. And maybe they've been criticized in the past for ways that they've produced or handled announcing, but, we are I've never been happier, honestly, buddy. I'm still on cloud 9, maybe cloud 11, because getting to sit ringside and call the best superstars and divas in the world on a weekly basis and do it the way I would love to do it. It's how much more can you ask for in life?
Wow, that's awesome to hear. And you mentioned how social media was a big reason why you got the job. You are a big deal on social media. You got Retweet City going, and I put out on Reddit Squared Circle that I was talking to you. So we have a couple of fan questions, both from the MMA point of view and from wrestling. So I'll just ask some fan questions quickly. The top voted question for you was, has anyone thought of letting you do commentary for NXT TakeOver? I'd love to hear him call Finn/Joe, Bayley/Asuka, Zayn/Nakamura, and interacting with Corey Graves. That question was from WWWES32.
Well, if I was given a Canadian loonie, which is worth less than an American dollar bill, much less these days, but if I was given a Canadian loonie for every time that question about working with young Corey Graves was posited to me on Twitter, I would probably have my own island somewhere in the South Pacific and maybe flying there daily. I would have enough money to pay for the jet fuel daily. But all kidding aside, I am a huge proponent of NXT and what Triple H and the talent down there is doing. And the talent, by the way, includes Corey Graves, who's a phenomenal color commentator, and one Tom Phillips, who I think has an incredibly bright future as a play-by-play announcer. And the kid's in his mid-20s, already having called Smackdown and honing his skills now at NXT. So to be honest and again, flattered by the question, and obviously would love to do it, the matches are going to be in great hands with Tom Phillips and Corey Graves. Having said that, don't kid yourself. I would love to call matches involving all of the people down there. Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, with Shinsuke Nakamura. For the first time, I'll be in the same building as Swagsuke, who I absolutely enjoyed and just revered calling his New Japan stuff, and I really believe he's going to make a huge impact at NXT because even though he's in his mid-30s now, here's a guy who gets it. As a pro wrestler, as a shoot fighter, as a sports entertainer, this guy could do it all. With the influential entrances with Freddie Mercury and Michael Jackson, to the fact that he was a mixed martial artist who had 5 professional mixed martial arts fights, to the brawling, to the enigmatic style. Like Shinsuke Nakamura is one of the best, period. And so I'm looking forward to being there in the building, but to give you an idea of what I think about NXT, my respect begins with Tom Phillips and Corey Graves. But thank you. I'm flattered, but believe me, the commentary is going to be phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. And one more quick pro wrestling question, and then we'll ask you 2 quick MMA questions, and then we'll let you go. This one's probably one that you've gotten a lot. What's the status for WrestleMania? Doing any commentary that weekend?
Again, and I guess it's an incredible compliment because the fact that I keep getting this asked ad nauseum is mind blowing. As of right now, I am the voice of Smackdown. I will be in Dallas with my 2 brothers to take in all of the festivities, more as a fan than as a WWE representative. I've told them that if they need me to do anything, I am more than willing. So who knows where you might see me pop up. And honestly, at this point in time, there is no status in terms of calling matches. I know Jerry Lawler, my broadcast partner, had hinted at it, and I'm sure there's been discussion. I hope there would be. But at the same time, that's not my call. And, that's Michael Cole, JBL, Byron Saxton, who are the pay-per-view team. They do a fantastic job, and I'm just happy to be a part of WWE, and whatever they want me to do, I'm going to do it, including, well, no, let's not go that far.
All right, we got 2 more quick questions about MMA. This one from Kin Kid. Mauro has accomplished all of his goals in his career from boxing to WWE and has surpassed any expectations I'm sure he had for himself. My question is, does he aspire to someday commentate for the UFC on top of all of his amazing work? And I will add in there that there are rumors that Joe Rogan's contract is ending sometime in either August or October. So would you be interested in commentating for the UFC?
Of course, who would say no? But I mean, my schedule as it is now, the fact that I have to, my family demands that I at least try to sleep sometime somewhere. Again, UFC and even the Rogan rumors, I am flattered, but Joe Rogan's a color commentator, maybe the best that has done the job in that role. I'm a play-by-play guy. Believe it or not, there is a difference, and that goes for people who always ask me to call a match with Jim Ross, who I respect and admire as a person. But again, that's redundant. So The long story short, would love to do it, but man, they've got an embarrassment of riches there with their broadcasting team. And, John Anik's a good friend of mine. Brian Stan is emerging as an amazing analyst. Actually, I've been blown away by the fighters who work as analysts on the UFC. Very articulate, very talented. Also, big fan of John Goodman and John Gooden. John Goodman's an actor. John Gooden and Dan Hardy for the Fight Pass stuff. So they're in good hands. I appreciate it. Would love, of course, I would love to call a UFC fight, but I think I'm busy that day.
All right, we have the final question, and this is one that is rather topical. Do you agree with Conor McGregor rematching Nate Diaz at UFC 200?
No, I don't agree. I don't understand it. Conor McGregor is a superstar. He's a big draw. He may be one of the few people in MMA right now that can survive a loss and still be a big-time player at the 145 where he's the champion and should be defending the title against Frankie Edgar. I don't get what is, the automatic rematch. Nate Diaz took the fight on short notice and submitted him in the second round. Yes, Conor had some success in the first round, but Nate Diaz is going to have a full camp. He's now been in the cage with McGregor. And yes, McGregor, I'm sure, will be better prepared because it was a short notice opponent for him too. I just don't see this as why. I think there's a lot more money and a lot more compelling stuff you can do right now. Nate Diaz submitted him. Case closed. Let's go. Nate Diaz may be coming down and trying to rematch and avenge a loss to Rafael dos Anjos if they want to make a big fight. I know there's been talk, why not Nate Diaz and George St. Pierre for Sahabi? St. Pierre's coach put it out there. If GSP is going to come back, UFC 200 would be a great place. But no, I'm not a fan of Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor too. And I'm kind of shocked. But having said that, I bet a lot of people will still be ordering it to see it. So good for them. But I usually, applaud the most of the matchmaking the UFC does. And I don't think this is official yet. I've read that this is being
it's a rumor. It's still a rumor.
I hope it's not true. Really, I do. I just think there's way more compelling fights out there. And to be honest, he's holding the featherweight division hostage now. The champion should be fighting the challengers in his weight class. And he went up 2 weight classes. Yes, it didn't work out. Not to say that he can't do it in the future, but come on, let's be realistic here and continue to make Conor McGregor and give him an opportunity to fight who he should be fighting and remain those big stars. Because as popular as the UFC is right now, and I'm amazed and very happy for the run of success, it's a star-driven business. Ronda Rousey lost. Who knows if she's coming back? There's a lot of movies she has to do, and yes, I'm sure the word is that she would come back and meet Miesha Tate for the third time. A little bit of the luster off Holly Holm and her too, but I still don't even know if she's going to come back because of the mental fallout from the loss to Holm, and with all of her other things that she has to do now, which are distractions from an MMA career. But that's why I think Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz too. Nope, I don't like it, but I'm not the guy putting the matches together. And really, at the end of the day, I'm not even on Inside MMA yet, so maybe my opinion isn't worth anything.
Well, you do have a lot of power on social media, though. And believe it or not, the UFC does listen to social media. Can we get Retweet City to maybe go after the UFC for Frankie Edgar's sake? Get Frankie Edgar that shot?
I have made I've made that clear on my podcast as well, where I just don't know what the kid has to do to get a featherweight title fight. He's beaten the big guns of the division and put together the most impressive win streak right now. And with Jose Aldo turning down the opportunity to rematch McGregor at 196, and the fact that he ignominiously lost in 13 seconds, that's a record for a championship fight. Why not give it to Edgar? And I think it's compelling as hell. I mean, I think it's going to be a fantastic fight. It could be a fight of the year. And at the end of the day, sure, personalities sell, the narratives draw, but the fights have to deliver. And when you get guys like McGregor and Edgar, two guys who can also sell a fight the way they, with their backgrounds, wow, that would be fantastic. I'd like to see that fight go down. If it's not going to be at UFC 200, I'd love for it to be at Madison Square Garden if they legalize the MMA finally, because the demographics in that part of the world for both Edgar from New Jersey and then the Irish population come over from Boston and everywhere else in the Northeast. Mamma mia, that would be a fantastic Madison Square Garden fight.
That would be amazing. Well, I have to let you go now because we have run out of time. Thank you so much for doing this. I've been a huge fan of yours all the way back, and I don't want to make you feel old, but since I was a kid watching you on The Score, can you tell people?
What? I don't feel that old because I started as a kid. So
yeah.
I'm but I appreciate the kind words, appreciate the questions. And just a big shout out to everyone who's watching or listening, and I hope they'll join Bas Rutten and I beginning Friday, March 25th at 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 a.m. Eastern. Set the DVR and have some fun, learn a few things as you go inside MMA on Access TV.
Awesome. Thank you for the time, Mauro.
Thank you.
All right. That was Mauro Ranallo. Got to talk about a lot there, things in the WWE universe, things in the MMA universe. It was great having him. So this is the first live stream that I have done for an interview. Let me know how it went. Tweet me at the Mikey Hutch. And if you want to see any of my other videos, any of Bloody Elbows videos, make sure to subscribe to MMA Nation. And also, every single day, have Bloody Elbows one of your home pages. We got a lot of great stuff, a lot of fantastic writers, all right? So thank you for the time. Thank you for watching this live stream. It's been a blast. And I'll see you. I might be doing this again on Monday or Tuesday. I have interviews with Derek Campos, an interview with Derek Campos on Monday. So you might see me back here for Monday. I guess we'll see whether or not I can get that happening. But that's all for now. See you later, and thanks for watching.